everybody. Welcome to another episode of PAR Meet the Artist. It's Power Ace Radio. My name is Pali, and I've got an amazing guest on the show. So, without further ado, if I get you to please tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and we know you're an artist, but tell us what you do, please.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Power Ace Radio. Definitely been involved with you for the past year, watching your interviews and what you do in the background. And that being said, my name is Kek. That's K-E-K. I'm from South Sudan originally. Left Sudan before the partition, lived in Egypt, Canada, and then now I'm in the US. Discovered music a few years ago. I enjoy recording vocals. Right now, working on learning some instruments, things of that nature. But yeah, I enjoy making hip hop and some Afro mix and Caribbean mixes to my music, just based on my upbringings in Canada and Africa, etc.
Nice. That's really, really cool. Because I like the way you touched back into where you're from and sort of music you make. Because the first song we got was very hip hoppy. The flow on there, like, this is interesting. So that first track, I believe, was called Sunny Days.
Yes, sir.
That was in 2022. And then from there, you gave us a different flavor in 2023 with Shake Body. And I'm like, okay, now, now we know what time it is. So what is the inspiration between your developments, how you're progressing from one genre to another? How did you go about that?
To be fairly honest, and this is in respect to the musicians that have been doing it for a long time. As I said, I started 3 years ago, and when I started, it was really just a learning experience. Trying to find my lane, trying to be comfortable with a new craft. But as I progressed, it's only been a few years now. I'm getting more comfortable with adding kind of my own lifestyle into my music, whether it's talking about sunny days and, beating the struggle, or Shake Body where we're just dancing, right? So just learning to incorporate that into my music as I move forward.
That's really, really cool. Because it shows your progression level. And, in 3 years, what you've done is been so incredible. And as a newcomer, so we've seen you, obviously you've done live performances, on stage on a few occasions. How do you find that? Is it daunting, or are you getting used to, performing?
In 2023, I kind of made an effort to be on the mic in front of people more, as opposed to just, recording in your room, producers, etc. So I started with open mics in Seattle, and I have some friends in California who, I reconnected with them, and they do a lot of shows in the city. And for me, the reason I like doing shows is you could see the people's energy right in front of you. And I've done Sunny Days, I've done Shake Body, the new song Sheng that just dropped about 3 weeks ago. And all of it gets a different reception, and I feed off the people's energy when I'm performing. So if there's 2 people in the crowd, it's a bit hard, but the more people, the better energy I get.
That's really, really cool. Because the reason why I asked that is because in the back end, a lot of people can produce their music, they can sing, but when it comes to actually the performance, because that's when you see the raw talents, there's no gimmicks behind it. So I'm glad that's the route you threw yourself right in front of it and go, okay, let's go in the deep end, and that's incredible.
Thank you.
Kind of going on from there, because you mentioned the new track, hot off the press, which is called Sheng. Again, that's very Afrobeaty, very dancey. Give us the inspiration behind that, please.
So the guy that made the beat is in Kenya. That's my producer. Shout out, Mr. Prod. He sent me a beat. He usually sends me beats, and I was sitting on that beat for a while, and I just remembered. Everybody knows the song. I better know the artist. You know the Jamaican song that goes "Bad man forward, bad man pull up."
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was a song that was always stuck in my head. And then I thought of the concept Sheng. I don't even know what it means. It just came to my head. And I felt, like putting that bad man forward, the Jamaican thing, the chant that everybody in Ontario, Toronto, Windsor knows about. And then putting in that African aspect. And it just worked. It was just really an experiment.
Well, see, great experiments, and definitely, I think it definitely worked.
Thank you.
Because for us, it's back in the days, every music is in its own genre, but now music you can't fit some tracks in a genre like that one. It's got the Afro vibe into it. It's got obviously like a dancehall vibe to it. And even the way you throw your flow, it's not so much like full African. It's like you kind of went through even the different ethnicity. So now that you've released that, compared to your first song, how do you feel people are gravitating towards it, or towards your style generally?
I think for me, it works. It's not something very popular because, for a person who doesn't know my background, they may listen to that and not really understand, well, you're speaking in Arabic in your song and you got English and then it's Jamaican and then it's African, So I feel like the people that really enjoy music and have some kind of insight about, more than just like one genre of music, like hip hop and rap, tend to like my style. And again, I don't think I have one style, right? So it's difficult for me to respond to that because, I have some hard rap music and then I have some other stuff. Yeah.
That's really cool. Really, really, really cool. And before we kind of go too far, let's cover this bit. People want to go and follow you, listen to your music. What are the social handles, or can they you?
I'm more active on Instagram. It gets most like a good 15-16% of my listeners. So my Instagram handle is KEKDO Music. So Kek Do Music. It's like a call to action. Kek Do Music at Instagram. And everywhere else, Kek Music on all streaming platforms is just Kek, Kek. That's Spotify, Apple, YouTube, anywhere else.
That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
So going into music, what artist influenced you to think, okay, I can do this and I definitely want a piece of this cake?
As far as artist influence, man, it's difficult. I grew up in the mid-thousands, so, we have Nas, we have 50 Cents, the Tupacs, obviously in the 90s as well. But a lot of Bob Marley for sure. It's a lot of music that I kind of plug in and enjoy, by yourself kind of stuff, reflection music. All of the Marleys, by the way, I love their music. A lot of African music, I would say Awilo, Lokomba, Congolese music. I do like not so much Burna Boy, not so much my style, but I do like a lot of the music coming out of, Nigeria, etc. So a lot of the Afro beats from there.
Nice. And now you've heard these tracks and you've gone, okay, this is it. what are your thought process? Do you have any special ritual in the way you create? Do you have maybe you have to do this particular thing before this can happen? Or you have to, before you go into the studio, this has to happen. Do you have any special rituals, or you just in
It's
the
it's
moment?
it's no ritual. Ironically, before we got on the call, my ritual is just throwing on a beat. And if I feel the beat, usually it sparks an emotion. And what I started doing is I have my own DAW and my mic here. And I'll just punch in the idea first, right? Whether it's the melodies, and then I'll come back and look at the words better, fix some words, and then make a song. But there is thought behind a lot of the songs I make, right? In terms of what emotion is the instrumental invoking from me, and then how do I transfer that or translate that over to the next person who may just be in their car, but I need to, get that emotion out of them. So
Mm,
yeah.
mm. That's really cool. Because not everybody make music to, to talk to somebody. People just make music just because of music. But if you're crafting and you think, okay, I want to deliver a message, after all, that's what music is meant to be. It's like, it's
Yes.
its own religion. So, no, that's really great. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Give you a quick story. The reason I started writing music during COVID, everybody was not working. I got laid off actually a month before COVID. Maybe they knew and didn't tell us. So I got laid off, and I got tired of staying at my parents' basement because I just happened to go back to Canada at the time. And about 5 months of living at my parents, I decided, okay, I'm tired of this. I bought a van and I went to Ottawa, Canada, north of Canada, capital city. And I started working, doing some random deliveries, Amazon here and there. But it put me in a tough situation because, I was with somebody there and I didn't end up finding myself sleeping in my van. Yeah.
Mm,
So after work, I finish work around 3. I would drive around the city, go to parks. And there's one particular park in Ottawa called Hogbacks Mountain. And I had an iPad on me that had instrumentals I downloaded about 3 years before, randomly. Never thought of ever making music. And that day I was humming a song in my head. And I was humming it. And then the next day I was making a delivery to my usual route and my car broke down. And one guy that I was making a delivery to saw me and he came outside, gave me water. It was July, very hot. Gave me water. I told him what I like to do, like music, etc. Found out he's from my same city that I grew up in Canada, Windsor, Ontario. And he connects me with a Jamaican guy who you've heard in one of my songs, Rainy Days, YNW Stretch. That's how I started making music. It was because of another artist gave me an opportunity, said, hear yourself on the mic. And once I heard myself on the mic, to be honest with you, there was no going back, because I figured I could communicate all the pain I was dealing with, sleeping in my car, not having a place to, lay your head at. And I was feeling like I could communicate that through music. And as I learned that, to your point, this is where my style kind of started to shift, where you're hearing Shake Body, Sheng, because, life changes as we grow.
Well,
Anyways, I'm done preaching.
no, that is a really, really deep story. Because everybody just feel like, oh yeah, this guy, look at him, and life is all rosy. You will share those aspects of you, like, but they don't see that there's background story to it. So with that, within you, how did you manage to, it's, I know the guy helped you, but it's down to you to do something. So how did you go from there to fixing things?
At the time, I woke up every day and I wrote. I would go on YouTube and I would just write. This is a new notebook now. but I had another notebook and I would just write. And at the time, I had no idea of music concepts, music theory. What is a bar? Is it somewhere I could go get a drink at? You know, so I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And the more I wrote and did research, finding people like you and other gurus out there, it just, you know, I started to understand how to write a song.
Wow, that's really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that are thinking, oh, I want to do this, first part is it something for everybody? Can everybody do it? And second is, what advice would you give to somebody that is thinking about it but not quite sure?
When it comes to music, it's an element of passion, right? You have to have passion behind it. And that's with everything you do. And the reason I'm saying this, that music sometimes it doesn't pay. It's not like clocking in at the warehouse and coming back out. The payment is later on. So you have to love what you do. And in that sense, it's not for everybody. You have to have a different love for your own craft, something that you make in front of you. And not many people are going to get to see it right now, but they might see it later. So it takes a certain person to understand that, but I think if you set your mind to it, anybody can do anything. So I don't want to say music is for everybody, but it just takes a certain person to do something like music, you know.
It's a powerful answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And kind of moving on, let me ask why I call my random question. That if you could tune in to any room in the world, you know, from maybe the president's room, maybe a live concert, favorite live concert that you've always wanted to tune in, or even go back in time and listen to, I don't know, Bob Marley doing a set at some point. Just for 5 hours, what room will you tune into?
It has to be a musician's room. A musician is well traveled, obviously, whether mentally, because we imagine a lot, or actual physically, like a Bob Marley who's been everywhere, basically, to perform. You could say the same thing about the presidents, but the president's job is very kind of tunnel vision, right? Whereas a musician, you have to explore beyond the tunnel, right? You have to think about things and different cultures. And imagine writing a song in your room and you find yourself in Thailand somewhere singing it. That is not something any person can do. So yeah, I want to be in a musician's room.
Nice. Well, shame we can't just make that happen, but we just never know. And, you know, with your passion for music so much, if you could collaborate with any artist in the world, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Dang, that's tough. I would choose just one, or can I have two choices?
Okay, only because it's Sunday, you can have two choices.
I would go with Tupac, number one. My first ever cassette was a Tupac cassette, All Eyes on Me. I was in Cairo. I was 9.5 years old. And I listened to that on replay, even though the only word I understood was "what's up." You know, so I would go with Tupac, number one. Man, I love Bob Marley too much, so I would have to go with Bob, number two. Bob has a huge influence across the world, and even post, you know, his departure is still permeates in people's mind and music. So yeah, those two.
That's yeah, I suppose two top legends can't fault your answer at all. And so those two legends unfortunately are gone, but their legacy lives on. If after Cake is gone, what do you want to be remembered for?
Tough. I wouldn't say necessarily my songs, because a song is a song, anyone can remake. But I think, and I don't want to use the word brand either, because I'm not selling my soul here, right? But you can remember me for just being tech, being myself, whether it's from my music, whether it's my friends that I'm close to, my family, is that they could say he was Keck. He wasn't anybody else. And that's the one thing I think I hold pride in. It's like, I'm Keck, right? Through my faults, through my successes and everything, my mistakes. If I can maintain to be myself, then that's all I want.
That's a really good answer, like that. Yes, so let's come back to the music. Sheng. If Sheng was an animal, what kind of animal would it be? What sort of temperaments would Sheng have, like personality-wise?
Dang, personality-wise, the song is definitely, it's different from what I would say my immediate personality would be. But Sheng is the mischievous cat in your house. You know, it's laying there, it's bored, but it might sneak up on you and slap you upside the head. It might bite you in the ankle. And the reason I say that is because Sheng has so many different elements to it that it has a personality like almost a cat. It could be a good song to chill to. It could be a good song to dance and vibe to, drive to. So.
Oh, very nice. I'm thinking of a house cat that could be slightly possessed from time to time. Hey.
Exactly. And by the way, I'm scared of cats, like literally. Like house cats, though. I have a lion tattoo on my shoulder, but I'm scared of house cats, literally.
Oh, wow.
It's a trauma from Africa, cats are different there.
No, absolutely. Cats and dogs is just there's no soap. Things are there for a purpose. That's it.
Mm.
Cat is there to
Mm.
cut mouse. That's it. But and so from back home, I know you didn't do music back then, and now you've traveled around, you've seen music from all over the world. Do you believe there's something that music can actually that it can transcend? Bob Marley said about, oh yeah, he wants to use music to connect the world. We preach about unity through music. How do you, well, as a musician, how do you propose to contribute to this?
Ooh, tough, tough. When I was younger, I used to want to save the world, you know, but there's a line that Bob Marley said, if you know what life is worth, you would look for yours and hers, or something like that, right? What I can contribute to music is just, or the world in itself through music, is the idea of fighting on. You have to keep fighting on. And fighting doesn't always mean rigidity. You don't have to be rigid. You can make a song like Sheng and Shake Body, right? Because life is like that. It's like a wave on a graph. Today I woke up really happy. Tomorrow I'm sad, but that's not the end of it, because there's another day after. So it's just pushing on every day. And to be honest, yeah, life isn't easy for most of people, but we wake up in the morning. Yeah, we wake up in the morning. So I just want people to push on.
That's really, really deep. And kind of following on from pushing on, what is next in the pipeline for you?
I have a lot. I sent you some unreleased stuff. I have a song and I want to release it for Mother's Day. It's called Mama. And, it talks about my story with my mother in Africa and in Sudan, especially before they split, and what she did for me, and the whole concept of pushing on. When you see it from your own mother, from your own mama, it's like it's in you, you know, it's in me, right? Because I came from her. So that kind of rigid mindset is I'm going to keep pushing on. That song is about that. It's about what she did for me to make sure that I have the opportunity I have in Canada today. In Canada, US, I'm in Seattle now, but I grew up in Canada as well. She may not experience it because she never came to North America with us, right? But she made sure that, you know, I have an opportunity, something beyond the struggle that I was dealing with in Sudan at the time. So it's called Mama. Choosing to drop it probably Mother's Day. And I have a lot of Afrobeat songs. They're in the vault. You know, I have a little vault. You make a song, you put it away, decide when you want to drop it. But yeah, I'm daily working. In fact, I was just writing before we got into this meeting. So like I said, I just try to write, and it's more of an exercise. And if a lot of things I write don't make it to a song, but I get better somehow. I don't know. It's what somebody told me.
Well, that's definitely, well, the music as we're receiving them, they're definitely getting better. Definitely say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much. And, you know, while we're here, do you want to give us a little sample of something, maybe something you've already written, something you've released already, or maybe a little sample of something that is yet to come? The stage is all yours.
Do you have Mama?
Do I have it?
Yeah. Well, do you want me to like play it or just say it
Just
vocally without?
a cappella style will be good. Thank you.
Mm. All right, so let's go with Mama. And I'm just gonna go with the hook. It goes, Mama, can you hear me? Been too long, too many seasons. Oh, missing you like find a clue. Oh my, too many years no see you, friend. Oh, good times and memories. Oh my, something like that.
Ooh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's a deep song. Yeah, it's a deep song. Has a couple different hooks. But I prefer not to give it out fully right now.
No, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Can't wait to hear that, because you know when you described it, it sounded like, oh, maybe something gonna be very morbid and slow and
Mhm.
but as you're actually delivering it, I'm like, oh wow, okay, all
Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah,
so
there are parts of it where it's sad, like the verse. I talk about leaving Sudan in 98 with literally a plastic bag of only clothes I had and catching the train. And so parts of it, yes, but the hook, as I mentioned, sometimes pain is like that. You can find happiness in pain.
mm, mm, well, can't wait to hear that release. Yeah, it's been such a great conversation. Went through it, a lot of little bits and pieces. Thank you so much. And yeah, Keck do it on all platform at
Yep.
KA and do it. So that's it's like my
Yeah, so it's Keck D-O, Keck Do Music. Keck Do Music on IG, Instagram, on all streaming platforms. It's just Keck, K-E-K.
super Keck do music.
Yeah.
KK. So yeah, we'll be there to go and follow. Any closing remarks from you for your followers?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, Power Ace Radio. I feel like this conversation is long overdue. You all support people, artists across the globe, actually, and I've seen so many different faces in your interviews. So I'm honored to have finally spoken with you one-to-one, and I want to thank you for putting me on your platform and allowing the world to at least hear a little bit of what I have to say. It means a lot here. That's all I have to say.
That's really great. Thank you so much for that lovely kind words. So yeah, well, we'll be hopefully catching up again soon when the next one drops. But before that, but until then, we'll be following on social media. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Power Ace Radio. Best music.
More music variety on Power Ace Radio.